Good afternoon, my dear friends. This is Dr. Bettinghouse for our office hours today, and we're going to be talking about a very interesting subject that many of you women may have already experienced, and that is the wonderful transition in our life to through menopause. Okay, so I'm just going to have a few slides here for a moment or two, but I want you to be thinking about it. If you're in that, somebody once said the moment you start your menstrual cycle, you're already perimenopausal. So it's like there's a definite lifespan for women's menstrual cycle, and it varies a lot from woman to woman. Sometimes it's based on genetics. Many times it could be related to other health problems. Sometimes there are surgical interventions that uh, cause the sex organs, the uterus and or the ovaries, to be removed before uh, there would be a natural menopause. So be thinking about any questions you have or comments. Okay. Now remember, I'm not going to answer specific questions. This is just an overview. But if you are interested in finding out more about how we might be helpful for you, you can always schedule a free discovery call. But anyway, so I want to just get started here. Okay, Tom. I don't know why I have such a hard time with this. Share. I'm sharing. Okay, there we go. I don't know. One day I'm going to get this right. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about navigating through menopause. It sounds like we're going on a journey, doesn't it? And you know what? That's exactly what we're doing, is going on a journey. So uh, let's get started. So many of you already know this, the common symptoms of menopause. Sometimes your periods start being irregular. Um, you find that you're not sleeping very well and you're restless at night. You get irritable. You're having night sweats and hot flashes, and you may have times when you feel like you can't remember why you came into a room or where you put your keys or what your next appointment is. Whatever, it's a common symptom. Uh, there can also be changes in weight, more frequently weight gain than weight loss. And then there's also a loss of bone, there can be a loss of bone density, leading to things like osteopenia or osteoporosis. So, as we're going through these slides, start thinking about what comes to mind when you hear the word menopause. And as I said, many of you may be already going through menopause. Uh, what are your biggest concerns during this period of time? And how are you managing the symptoms of menopause? If you have any, some women go through menopause very easily, and then others, have a heck of a time. So be sure to write your answers in the comment section, and I'll try to go over them, or we'll talk about them. Now, I want to tell you my story, okay? At the age of 46, I had my right ovary had a large cyst on it, and it was removed. It was a scary time. Ovarian cancer sometimes shows up like that, but that was benign. And then about a year later, I started having hot flashes, kind of out of the clear blue sky, and started. I was actually working in a pediatric clinic up in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, trying to. I had stopped my practice in Plano and trying to make enough money to move to Denver. And what I discovered, and I hadn't practiced pediatrics in about 2 years, and I was starting to realize that I couldn't remember like what the dose of amoxicillin was for an ear infection. It was kind of scary, but the nurses there at the Chippewa Falls clinic were very, very kind, and we had a lot of good laughs. And I went to a gynecologist to see, and I told him what had happened. That the year before I had had surgical removal of an ovary, and he told me, well, that didn't have anything to do with your going through early menopause. And at that point in time, I really didn't know anything about hormones, being a pediatrician. So unfortunately, I chose to start hormone therapy, and that was back in the days when they were using Premarin, which is made from horse urine. I got off of that pretty quickly, but uh, the one thing I want to point out now is that the first thing you do as you're going through menopause and you're having some unpleasant symptoms, it's not the first thing is to go to a doctor to get on bioidentical hormones, okay? So the purpose of this little talk today is to talk about some of the other things that you can do that will begin to manage those symptoms. And then, if nothing helps, then that may be the time to consider uh, seeing a specialist and having bioidentical hormones. That means natural estrogen and progesterone prescribed for you. So, as I said, using uh, hormone replacement therapy isn't the only answer. As a matter of fact, I think it should be used probably very sparingly, to be honest with you, because there is a window of time after menopause, the last menstrual cycle, that when it can be beneficial to be on hormones. But after a period of several years, then using bioidentical hormones start to become problematic. So you need to be sure that you don't just think that's the only answer. So let's look at some of the things that are really important. And first of all is lifestyle, sleep. If we're not sleeping very well, then we're not going to be able to restore the biological functions. Getting good, adequate sleep also helps with mood regulation and irritability. So it is really important to get a good, 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And of course, we can't give up our exercise and our movement. This is the time to start maybe moving a little bit more. And I like the word movement rather than exercise, because people go, oh, no, I can't exercise. I'm overweight and everybody's going to laugh at me and all that stuff. But you can certainly move, dancing, walking, swimming, doing gentle things like Tai Chi or yoga can be very helpful to keep you feeling alive, okay, and keeping things moving. And nutrition is going to be the key, okay, because if you're eating inflammatory foods, it's just going to make everything worse. So, as we talk about so much in functional medicine, you need to have an adequate diet of lean protein, good healthy fats, avoiding foods that are inflammatory, okay, and then you need to stay well hydrated. I think even I have a tendency not to drink enough water, and before I know it, I realize that my mouth is dry. If your mouth is dry, then you're dehydrated. Okay, so you don't want to get to that point. And then let me point out one other thing. I think it's important to maintain healthy relationships during this period of time, because not only maybe you're having hot flashes and night sweats, but you can be quite irritable. Okay, so your spouse may not understand, and you're always yelling or angry, yelling at the kids if they're still there at home with you. So it's important to maintain good, healthy relationships, not only with your family members, but also with yourself, because a relationship with yourself is vital. Now, one of the things I even used to tell my young adolescent patients when I was in pediatric practice that the menstrual cycle is sometimes a good time to be quiet, kind of a time of inner reflection, okay? And of course, as you realize you're going through a pretty huge change in your life, especially if you've had children, okay? Um, so I think it's a time to evaluate your life, in a good, healthy way, not going through all the things that you regret about what you did or didn't do. But it's a time to look at your life. Where have you come from? What have you done in your life? Okay, and what's the next phase of your life going to be? What are your plans, your dreams, your goals? And many times, because of family responsibilities or even work responsibilities, many women don't take the time to even flesh out their dreams and their vision, and to get in touch with their purpose, their true purpose in life. So I can see this as a time that can be celebratory. Okay, you're coming into your own state of wisdom. So I want you to find small changes that you can make in your life that are going to have the biggest impact. Okay, first of all, you've got to honor the inherent wisdom of your body. Um, Many times we forget to even check in with how we're feeling. And then, of course, you need to identify and remove any obstacles, uh, and especially things like toxins that may be in personal care products, okay? Because toxicity has a huge role to play in hormonal imbalances. And we need to try to identify the root cause of why you're having so much trouble going through menopause. And you want to be systems oriented. Look at everything, not just the fact that you're stopped having a period, okay? But look at all your health issues. And I always say it's a premise of medicine: first, do no harm. If you're going to go out and to your local health food store, vitamin store, whatever, you're going to want to be choosing safe and proven treatments and remedies. And you need to be an active participant in your healthcare. I'm going to tell you that over and over again, because a doctor or a nurse practitioner or a PA, whoever you may be seeing, can't do it for you. Okay, you need to cooperate and realize that your health ultimately is up to you. So, what I wanted you to take away this afternoon is that you matter, that no matter how your menstrual cycle has been, or what you've done in your life or not done in your life, you matter. So, you need to be yourself. You need to accept yourself, and you need to forgive yourself. Bless yourself. Have you ever thought about blessing yourself in the wonderful life that you've lived? And you need to also express yourself. So many times I see that women who are shut down, I can always tell when somebody's been shut down in their life, because they have trouble speaking up and say, I don't agree with you. That's not what I want in my life. And you also need to trust yourself. Okay, you're wise. You have an inherent wisdom in you, and many times the feminine aspect of our beingness is truly the wisdom center. Okay, so trust that, and learn. If you don't already feel like you love yourself, learn to love yourself, because as you do all these things, then you are empowering yourself. Okay, and that's what's really important, I think, as we go through this period in our life. Okay, all right. So anyway, menopause, it's an exciting time in your life. Okay, I hope that these few ideas have been helpful for you. And if you have any comments and you want to make them, please do that. Or if you have a question, I'll be happy to try and answer your question. Now, next week, I think we're going to be talking about insurance. Okay, it's a new January. People deductible goes up, and I want to really have a heart-to-heart talk with you about insurance and the role that it plays and has played in the life of our country. Okay, many countries around the world actually have universal health care. All right, I'm not going to be talking about that, but what's the purpose of insurance? And I'm going to ask you a question: has it been an obstacle for you getting the help you need? Okay, all right. So I will see you next week. Okay? Have a wonderful day.